Herzlich willkommen, Sianamgela, and welcome to the Bundesliga Connection with Chris Harrington on the SL Podcast in partnership with DW Berlin.
It's time for the latest from Germany's domestic football league, the Bundesliga, and more. For that, we are joined by Chris Harrington from our partner station Deutsche Welle in Berlin, Germany. Chris, Bayern Munich have been accused of poaching talent from their closest competitors, and it seems as though they've done it again.
Yes, indeed, they have. RB Leipzig's Konrad Laimer has become Bayern's first summer signing and first major arrival, especially considering their sporting director was fired back in May. Now, he's been stellar for RB Leipzig in the past, 15 goals, assisting 19. He's exactly a piece that Bayern would need to stimulate their midfield. Now, one reality is in terms of Bayern poaching the talent. Now, you have to look at the standings of where RB Leipzig was. They were relatively close in the standings. And that's not the first team. The history is quite long. You can go back to Robert Lewandowski when he played for Borrusia Dortmund, and also Mario Gotze, Mats Hummels. Joshua Kimmich was an RB Leipzig guy. Serge Gantry was poached from Hoffenheim. So, a lot of teams, when they look to be improving, in terms of their personnel, Bayern, call it smart business, call it what it is, but it has to be a mutual desire. The club wants the player, but the player ultimately wants to play at the best club in Germany, and that history has proven that to be Bayern. And recent reports even have Bayern potentially going after Raphael Guerreiro. He's currently at Dortmund, and if that proves to be true, it just says that Bayern will continue poaching the talent as they see fit.
The Bundesliga is seeing the return of Naby Keita. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, Naby Keita, he was quite electric. Jurgen Klopp described him as the complete midfielder when he was signed by Liverpool back in 2018. But injury was one thing. The physicality of the Premier League, I think, limited his playing time for Liverpool. And the club, was looking to offer him not many suitors, but Werder Bremen did come calling. And I think it's a good decision for him, because we can't forget when he was at RB Leipzig, he put up quite the numbers and he looked to be the perfect midfielder. But one thing you always have to ask and wonder about players, do they return from injury too soon? This could have been the case with Keita, pushing himself beyond. Reports are that he had done everything to get himself healthy in terms of changing his diet, doing different regimens, and other things like this. Well, Liverpool say that he's lost a bit of pace, and he has an opportunity now with Werder Bremen. Quite the opportunity, because I do think that he will get a lot of minutes. He spoke about, him returning to the Bundesliga. He said he's looking forward to his new role at Bremen. He believes it to be a special club. He thinks that the philosophy at the club suits him, and it's the right move. And I think it does wonders, because you have to keep in mind, it does give players an opportunity to get their confidence back. When you put up the numbers and you have those minutes and you can rebuild yourself, if you desire to test your talents elsewhere, you'll be in a position to do so. And Naby Keita, we know what he can do. We know what he's done in the Bundesliga. It's unfortunate to see his Liverpool career, not really live up to its potential. But Werder Bremen is delighted to have him.
Speaking of transfers, Chris, Real Madrid have reached an agreement to sign Dortmund's Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, it was just a matter of time. We all know that Jude Bellingham was one of the most coveted players, a highly sought-out talents this summer window. And it looks like they got the deal done. 103 million euros is what it initially cost. Dortmund can also receive more money. They can receive, when you consider the add-on value of the deal, up to 134 million euros. And that just goes to show that, you could argue these numbers are getting out of control, but it is what it is. These are the prices the market demands. And Real Madrid, over the 6-year contract, will pay Bellingham $10 million a year. He's 19. He's mature beyond his years. I think Real Madrid are lucky to have such a mature player. You've always heard this about him, whether it's when he's represented England on the international pitch or when he's been the captain of Borussia Dortmund. The Bundesliga player of the year and the accolades all, to go with that. I think it's the right move. It just proves that Dortmund gets something right. They somehow find these young, talented players, and they go off and do wonderful things. You can look at Erling Haaland. He just won the Champions League. He's a former Dortmund player. Maybe that is also in the near future of Jude Bellingham. I'm sure he's delighted to go. His teammates will sadly miss him, as will Signal Iduna Park and all of the Dortmund faithful, because they were inches away from dethroning Bayern this past season.
And just like always, Chris, before we let you go, what else has hit your radar this week?
Yes, something did that I found quite interesting. Sometimes shallow reasons prevent players from joining teams. Bayern Munich star Alphonso Davies came out and recently said that Barcelona denied him because he was Canadian, which is a very odd reason, because if it weren't for that rejection, Bayern Munich wouldn't have landed the young talent. He's gone off to do wonders. He's led Canada back to a World Cup after missing several, prior to this recent addition. And he's been quite the talented young defender for Bayern Munich. It's just one of those crazy things. And Davis spoke about it. He said it crushed his feelings a little bit. But that's what the Barcelona president actually said to him. They didn't want him because he was Canadian. I mean, scratching my head on that, I think that's kind of ridiculous. You want to be focused on what the players do on the pitch and not what their passport says. But all in all, that news really happened, and I found that to be quite interesting. And it just goes to show superficial reasons can prevent some teams from getting extraordinary talent.
Thank you very much for the Bundesliga update, Mr. Chris Harrington from our partner station Deutsche Welle in Berlin, Germany. Have a fantastic day further.
Dankeschön und auf Wiedersehen.
The Bundesliga Connection. Proudly brought to you by Soccer Laduma.